Be me. 19 years old. Always keeping my body in shape. Same goes for my brother. He is 21 years old. We both work out regularly. Never miss a morning stretch. Love spending time together anywhere. Early morning walks in quiet streets. Late night movies on the couch. Sharing snacks and whispered jokes. We laugh so hard sometimes. The kind of laughter only we get. We have our own little secrets. One glance and we know everything. Friends sometimes give us strange looks. But we just smile back. We have been close since childhood. He has always been my safe place. I tell him what I hide from others. Sometimes our jokes sound a bit too playful. But we laugh and move on. Never saw it as something wrong. One evening I went out with friends. Small cozy cafe near the park. We chose a table by the window. Streetlights glowing outside in the dark. Conversation drifted toward relationships quickly. Someone asked if I had a boyfriend. I smiled and said I didn't. They laughed and exchanged glances. One of them said I basically do. Because I am always with my brother. At first I laughed it off. But they kept pushing the idea. Calling it strange and unusual. Saying people might think something else entirely. Their words started circling in my head. I felt a little uneasy inside. That night I lay in bed. Replaying every moment with him. Every hug, every long glance. Things I never thought twice about before. For the first time I felt unsure. And a little scared of how it looked. The next morning felt different for me. Sunlight came through the blinds softly. I picked up my phone slowly. Saw a good morning text from him. Normally I would reply right away. This time I left it unread. I told myself I was just busy. But deep down I hesitated. His words from last night lingered. Not his words but my friends. I got up and made coffee. Scrolling through old pictures of us. Smiling in every single one. Arms around each other in most. Suddenly those images felt heavier. Like they carried a new meaning. I didn't like the thought at all. Later he knocked on my door lightly. Asked if I wanted to go out. A walk through the park like always. I said I had homework instead. He gave me a puzzled look. But didn't push further or question. Still I felt his eyes on me. Wondering what had changed overnight. I avoided his gaze completely. Pretending to be too focused on my phone. Days started passing in a strange way. We still lived under the same roof. But it felt like different worlds. He would knock on my door sometimes. Asking if I wanted to watch something. I would make up excuses quickly. Said I was tired or busy. His voice always carried a hint of concern. But I never explained what was wrong. Inside I missed our old rhythm. The easy talks and shared laughter. But the words from that night kept echoing in my head endlessly. I saw him sitting in the living room. Scrolling through his phone quietly. He looked up when I passed by. Offered a smile that felt softer now. Like he was trying not to scare me. I nodded back without stopping. My chest felt tight as I walked away. Family dinners were the hardest moments. We used to sit right next to each other. Now I chose a spot further down. He didn't say anything but I noticed. How his fork moved slower than usual. How his eyes never met mine for long. Weeks went by with that quiet distance. The house felt colder without our talks. Even simple meals seemed too silent. I caught him glancing at me sometimes. Like he was trying to read my mind. I wanted to tell him everything. But feared how it might change us. Then came Grandma's birthday celebration. The whole family gathered in her warm house. The smell of pies and roasted meat filled the air. Voices overlapped with laughter and music. Kids ran around the living room loudly. I stayed in the kitchen helping set the table. Avoiding the busy crowd for a moment. He walked in carrying plates carefully. Our eyes met for the first time in days. He set them down and stood by the counter. Said he missed talking to me lately. His tone was gentle but heavy. I froze for a second, not knowing what to say. He reached for a knife to cut the cake. And suddenly smiled at me warmly. Then brought up a childhood memory. One where we both ended up covered in flour. Helping Grandma bake cookies on Christmas Eve. The image made me laugh without thinking. And just like that, something inside softened. We stayed in the kitchen a little longer. The noise from the other rooms faded. As if it was just the two of us again. He started asking about my classes casually. Then teased me about how I used to skip homework. I rolled my eyes but kept smiling. The tension I carried for weeks was melting. He handed me a slice of cake carefully. Our fingers brushed for a second. And I felt a rush of familiar comfort. We moved to the corner near the window. Talking about old photos and family trips. He remembered every little detail. Even the embarrassing ones I had forgotten. I laughed so hard my eyes watered. He laughed too, but softer. Like he was relieved to hear that sound. After so many quiet days between us. Someone called us to join the others. But neither of us moved right away. I realized how much I missed sitting like this. Just talking and feeling completely understood. I didn't care in that moment what anyone outside might think anymore. Later in the evening we joined the living room. Everyone was busy with gifts and food. We found a spot on the couch together. It felt natural to sit close again. Our shoulders touched as we watched the chaos. He leaned in to whisper a joke. Something only we would understand instantly. I laughed quietly, trying not to draw attention. He smiled in that familiar way. The one that made everything feel okay again. We started trading small comments back and forth. Like nothing had happened these past weeks. At one point our aunt teased us playfully. Asking if we ever get tired of each other. We both shrugged and smiled. But I could see in his eyes that he knew how close we'd come to drifting apart. He reached for my hand briefly under the table. A quick squeeze that said more than words. I felt a wave of relief in my chest. We stayed like that until dessert came out. Sharing bites and laughing over who gets the last piece. By the time the night was ending, I realized the cold distance was gone completely. When it was time to leave the party, he offered to walk me to the car. The night air was cool and quiet. Streetlights casting a soft golden glow. We didn't rush the short walk. Talking about little things along the way. He mentioned wanting to plan a weekend trip. Just the two of us like we used to. I agreed without hesitation this time. No second thoughts, no doubts creeping in. At the car he paused for a moment. Looked at me with that steady warmth. Said he was glad we were okay again. I told him I was too. And that I'd missed him more than I admitted. He smiled and pulled me into a hug. It felt exactly like home. As if the weeks of silence never happened. When we got back to our routine. Morning walks returned with easy laughter. Movie nights felt comfortable again. Our little inside jokes were alive. I knew people might still talk. But it no longer mattered. Because I'd learned our bond was worth protecting.